This article is part of the DC Brief Times Politics newsletter. Sign up here to get stories like this sent to your inbox. As early voting kicked off on Saturday in Detroit, Kamala Harris was in one of the city's high school gyms delivering a simple message: early votes are the best way to block Donald Trump's return to power. Now who's the capital of producing records? The vice president asked in a city with a legacy of musical hits. So we are going to break some records here in Detroit today. Harris was joined by superstar Lizzo for a high-energy rally near an otherwise sleepy park that houses an early voting site. Afterward, in an impressive flex of organizing power, the crowd marched across the street to the park where they could be among the city's first to cast ballots for Harris. If you ask me if America is ready for its first woman president, all I have to say is it's about damn time, Lizzo said, riffing on one of her biggest hits. Early vote began in Detroit on Saturday and expands statewide next weekend. Democrats traditionally have banked huge numbers in Michigan before Election Day, although no one seems sure which way that might break this year. Democrats anecdotally feel like they have a slight advantage, but Republicans insist they are on new ground given the GOP's renewed interest in banking votes early, after Trump assailed the practice in 2020. Hence the deployment of Lizzo, the Detroit-born artist who made the case for Harris in a high school gym under basketball-caliber lights and lacking any concert-level sound systems. The stripped-down setting seemed like it was designed to energize the residents of this decidedly local neighborhood rather than suggest an arena-caliber event. Campaign aides say that was no accident, as the goal was to attract voters in the neighborhood, and then have them cross the street and vote. Both Harris and Trump have spent the last 36 hours barnstorming Michigan, whose 15 electoral college votes are seen by both campaigns as critical. On Friday evening, Trump struggled with microphone troubles at a disjointed rally where he tried to reframe his bad-mouthing of Detroit a week earlier. Along with Lizzo, Harris was joined at the rally by 6 national union presidents and plenty of local polls. As the speeches rolled on, Harris's campaign aides shrewdly worked the gym, hoovering up voter and volunteer contact information. The race is tight. It's going to be hard work. But we like hard work, said Harris, who was soon racing to the airport to rally early voters in Georgia. We're here because this is a working day, as will be every single day between this and Election Day. Atlanta, Latrobe, Pennsylvania, October 19. Reuters, Republican Donald Trump escalated his verbal attacks on Democrat Kamala Harris on Saturday as the vice president turned to celebrities to generate enthusiasm for her campaign, with both candidates for U.S. president courting early voters. Harris and Trump are essentially tied in the most competitive states, and many Americans are voting early by mail or in person, with just 17 days until the November 5 election. On Saturday, Harris rallied supporters at a Get Out the Vote event in Detroit, Michigan, for the city's first day of early voting, alongside Detroit-born rapper Lizzo, who said voting was crucial in a state where thin margins can determine elections. In Atlanta later, Harris appeared with pop singer Usher. This is the swing state of all swing states, so every single last vote here counts, Lizzo said. She rejected the argument by some that America was not ready for a woman president, saying, "It's about damn time," riffing on one of her biggest hits. Votes in a handful of swing states, where candidates from both parties have strong support and electoral results have been close in past cycles, are likely to decide the election. In Latrobe, Pennsylvania, Trump escalated his personal attacks on Harris, a practice some of his advisors fear could alienate swing voters. Trump said Harris is further to the left than Democratic Senators Elizabeth Warren and Bernie Sanders. "You have to tell Kamala Harris that you've had enough, that you just can't take it anymore. We can't stand you, you're a shit vice president." As the crowd applauded, Trump added, "Kamala, you're fired, get the hell out of here, you're fired." Trump had billed his Latrobe event as the start of his final argument to voters, but quickly went off script with a long story about hometown hero Arnold Palmer that included an off-color comment about the genitalia of the late golf legend. He took showers with the other pros, they came out of there and said, "Oh my God, that's unbelievable," he said. The Harris campaign quickly seized on the comments. Trump's Pennsylvania closing argument is literal junk. In a Pennsylvania rally speech his campaign team builders, the beginning of his closing argument in the final stretch, Donald Trump focused on the issue most important to voters in this election, a deceased golfer's anatomy, the campaign said in a statement. In both Detroit and Atlanta, Harris urged her supporters to put in an all-out effort to win. On election day, we don't want to have any regrets about what we could have done these next 17 days, she told about 300 voters who planned to march together to an early voting site. She said early voting had already set records in Georgia and North Carolina, and challenged Detroit, a city known for producing musical recordings, to follow suit. Harris's next stop was Atlanta, Georgia, for a rally with another music icon, Usher, who took a break from a 3-date concert tour in a southern city to urge voters to go door to door and enlist their neighbors and friends to vote. Every call matters. Every conversation matters. All of it makes a difference in closing this race. Everything that we do in the next 17 days will affect the future of our children, of our grandchildren, of the people who we love the most, he said. Harris, speaking before some 11,000 people at a music venue in Atlanta, hammered Trump for a second straight day for canceling events and for avoiding another presidential debate because of what she called exhaustion. When he does answer a question or speak at a rally, have you noticed he tends to go off script and ramble, and generally for the life of him, cannot finish a thought? She said, he has called it the weave. But I think we here will call it nonsense. Harris will need strong results in the majority non-white cities of Detroit and Atlanta and their surrounding suburbs to repeat President Joe Biden's 2020 wins in Michigan and Georgia. Trump is seeking to take advantage of what he felt was an improved position for him in opinion polls that show a deadlocked race. Some voters already have mail-in ballots in the state, which is the biggest prize on election day among battleground states and could tip the 2024 race. Early voting also starts on Saturday in Nevada, where former President Barack Obama plans to campaign for Harris in Las Vegas. Both 2024 candidates spent Friday in closely contested Michigan, trading jabs about their fitness for office. Trump, 78, dismissed accusations from Harris that he was exhausted by the pace of the campaign's closing days. Harris turned 60 on Sunday. Trump said he had not cancelled any events. But an October 22 National Rifle Association of America event in Savannah, Georgia, that he had planned to attend, was cancelled, according to organizers.